It all began on what was supposed to be a simple, joyful afternoon. The kind of day where everyone feels relaxed, the air is filled with laughter, music hums softly in the background, and family gathers together to enjoy each other's company. To anyone looking in from the outside, it probably seemed like nothing more than a warm, ordinary gathering. But if you know anything about the lives of celebrities, you understand that sometimes the calmest moments are only the surface. Beneath that calm, the storm has already started. This was one of those moments, a day that began like any other but ended with something no one there could forget. According to the people who witnessed it, everything started off casually. Teyana had invited a few close friends and relatives over. Nothing extravagant, just an easy get-together. Pierre was there too, of course. He had been making more of an effort lately, trying to fit in with her world, blending into the crowd with polite smiles and light conversation. People noticed how he made an extra effort to connect with everyone, especially with Teyana's children. He'd been smiling more, cracking small jokes, doing little things to make himself seem approachable. On the surface, it looked like he was slowly finding his place. But no one could have predicted how quickly things would unravel. Erin was near the snack table, chatting casually with one of Teyana's uncles, when her daughter wandered over. She's still young, but anyone who knows her says she's sharp, observant. The kind of child who notices more than she lets on. Erin bent down to her level, trying to make her laugh with a playful comment about her outfit. At first, it worked. She giggled, shy but amused. And then, in an instant, the mood shifted. Her laughter vanished. She placed her little hands on her hips, her eyes narrowed, and in a voice that cut through the room like a knife, she declared, "You're not my dad." It wasn't just what she said, it was how she said it. Sharp, loud, with the intention of being heard by everyone in the room. The sound of her voice stopped all chatter at once. People froze mid-sentence. Heads turned. Even the music, though it was still playing, suddenly felt far away, drowned out by the weight of that one statement. Aaron blinked, stunned, as though his mind had blanked completely. He didn't move, didn't speak, just stood frozen in that humiliating spotlight. Around him, the silence stretched unbearably long. People shifted uncomfortably, exchanging uncertain glances, trying to decide whether to look away or keep watching. Across the room, Teyana looked stricken. Her lips parted like she wanted to say something, but nothing came out. She stood still, her face tight with shock, as if she had just been punched in the stomach. Aaron straightened slowly, his expression hardening into something people couldn't quite read. Without speaking a single word, he set his drink down, stepped away from the table, and walked toward the door. No explanation, no goodbye, no attempt at smoothing things over. Just a quiet, deliberate walk out of the gathering. When the door clicked shut behind him, it sounded louder than it really was, like the final note of a song. Everyone in the room remained frozen, stunned by what they had just witnessed. In that moment, the raw truth from a child had shattered the illusion of harmony. Almost instantly, the whispers began. People leaned into corners, speaking in hushed tones, trying to process what had just unfolded. Some guests couldn't resist reaching for their phones, texting friends about the scene they had just witnessed. By the next morning, the story had already found its way online. One guest, clearly unable to keep the drama to themselves, hinted on Instagram that something wild had gone down at Teyana's house. Another posted a cryptic tweet that read, "Kids don't lie. Be careful who you bring around them." Screenshots spread quickly, fueling the fire, and soon fans were piecing together the details. For those who had been following Teyana and Aaron's relationship closely, this moment wasn't entirely out of nowhere. Their romance had always been a whirlwind. After Teyana split from Iman Shumpert, she wasted little time re-entering the dating world. When Aaron appeared in her life, fans were divided. Some were excited, seeing it as a fresh start. Others worried it was too fast, too soon, especially considering her kids. Children, after all, can be fiercely protective, and introducing someone new into their lives is never simple. From the start, there were hints of tension. On social media lives, people noticed Teyana's daughter often avoided eye contact with Aaron. In group photos, she sometimes stood apart from him. Once, when Aaron tried to snap a selfie with her, She quietly slipped out of the frame before he could take the picture. At the time, it seemed harmless, maybe even a little funny. But now, with hindsight, fans are connecting the dots. Insiders even claimed Aaron had confided to friends that he felt like he was walking on eggshells around the kids. He wasn't sure what boundaries he could cross, or how much authority he could have without stepping out of line. And in the middle of all this was Iman, the father. He has always had a close bond with his children. Sources said he wasn't thrilled with how quickly Aaron had become part of their daily lives. Publicly, Iman kept quiet, but those close to him claimed he worried about the confusion his kids might face. When news of the outburst reached Iman, the reactions behind closed doors were mixed. Some say he felt a quiet sense of validation, like the truth had finally revealed itself. Others believe he was more concerned about how the incident might affect his daughter emotionally. Either way, the tension wasn't just a family issue. Anymore, it had exploded into public discussion. The online debate was heated. Some applauded Teyana's daughter for speaking up, saying kids should always have the right to set boundaries when it comes to new partners. She's protecting herself and maybe protecting her dad's place in her life, one viral comment read. Others argued that Aaron deserved more respect, pointing out that blending families is difficult and that being publicly rejected by a child can be deeply hurtful. A few even suggested the child might have overheard adults speaking negatively about Aaron and repeated it in the heat of the moment. TikTok was flooded with videos dissecting the event. Some creators slowed down clips, analyzing Teyana's frozen reaction, Aaron's clenched jaw, and the daughter's subtle shift in expression right before she spoke. Others dug through old interviews and Instagram posts, searching for proof of tension that had always been there. Hashtags like #YouNotMyDad and #AaronWalkout started trending, pulling even more eyes into the drama. In the days that followed, reports surfaced that Aaron hadn't returned to Teyana's home. Sources claimed he was staying at a friend's place, keeping a low profile. Teyana stayed silent in public, posting only a few vague Instagram stories with quotes about loyalty and protecting your peace. Aaron posted one to a simple black screen with the words, "Respect is earned, not given." Fans read between the lines, convinced the posts were directed at each other, or perhaps at the daughter's rejection. Behind closed doors, insiders say Teyana had a difficult conversation with her daughter. Some claim she defended Aaron, telling her child he was important to her and deserved kindness. Others say she simply listened, choosing not to push too hard. Whatever the truth, the atmosphere at home was heavy with unspoken feelings. For Aaron, walking out that day wasn't only about anger, it was about self-preservation. Being called out in such a personal, cutting way, in front of a room full of people, is something no one forgets. Even if he understood the complexity of the situation, the sting of that moment has stayed with him. Some wonder if this was the breaking point, the beginning of the end for his relationship with Teyana. Fans have already begun predicting what's next. Some believe Aaron will slowly fade from Teyana's life, keeping things polite but distant. Others think Teyana will fight for the relationship, refusing to let one outburst decide her love story's future. But the real complication is her daughter. Insiders whisper that she has already told relatives she doesn't want Aaron around anymore. If that's true, then Teyana faces an impossible choice. Between her child and her partner, there is no contest. A child's needs come first. The haunting part of it all is how sudden it was. Relationships often crumble slowly, piece by piece. But this felt like lightning fast, bright, impossible to ignore. 1 second, Aaron was trying to make a child laugh, and the next, he was out the door. The silence of his walkout may be what lingers most in people's memories. No raised voices, no dramatic fight, just the quiet sound of a door closing, carrying with it a weight heavier than any words. Now, the question that hovers over everything is whether their relationship can survive. Once a child openly rejects someone, it's nearly impossible to repair that bond. Even if Aaron and Teyana try to rebuild, the memory of those four words, "You're not my dad," will never disappear. Every family dinner, every birthday, every future gathering will carry that shadow. For Aaron, those words might always serve as a reminder that no matter how hard he tries, there is a wall he may never be able to break through. For Teyana, this moment might force her to realize something difficult, that love isn't just about two people. It's about the children whose lives are connected to them. She can post as many cryptic quotes as she wants, but the truth is unavoidable. She's standing in the middle of an emotional tug of war. On one side is her relationship with Aaron. On the other is the trust and comfort of her daughter. And if she chooses wrong, the consequences could last forever. That's why people can't stop talking about it. Because it isn't just celebrity drama, it's raw, it's messy, it's real. And the ending hasn't been written yet. Whether Aaron and Teyana reconcile or drift apart, that walkout will be remembered as the moment everything shifted. Sometimes it's not the big screaming fights or public breakups that change the course of a relationship. Sometimes it's just the quiet sound of a door closing and the sinking realization that the person who walked out might not be coming back.